Okay, says we are live. Hopefully that is in fact true. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday. We are hoping to get a good bit done today. Um, we may have a little bit of noise, hopefully not too much, because the guys who are going to be painting the exterior of our house are here to like pressure wash and like caulk any things that need to be caulked. Caulked, caulked. I'm not sure how to like pronounce that to where it's clear that it's not the other, not the rooster, not the other thing. Anyway, because that's one of the things that with a southern accent doesn't sound different. So anyway, they are here to like put the stuff in the seams. Anyway, so they've already pressure washed, sort of pressure washed, like gently washed the house, got the spider webs, got the mud dauber thingies. So, but they are going around and sort of like putting the screens back on and like doing the caulking. But they have already done outside my window, so hopefully we won't be too disturbed. They're also at lunch at the moment, but they should be back shortly. I'm eagerly anticipating my Archer and Olive box tomorrow. I'm supposed to get a delivery that hopefully will arrive tomorrow. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't know if I'll be able to wait until Friday to unbox it, but yeah, I probably won't. If I can remember it, then I'll do a short recording of it. But chances are I'm going to be super excited about it. So no guarantees. I did also get. I kept seeing this cover from Tifosi, and it's one of their lined journals, but it was so stinking pretty that I could not resist it. Anyway, so this is it's like, let me see if I can catch it's like hollow gilded almost. It's hard to catch like the full rainbow in there, but it is definitely hollow. Like it has the full rainbow in there. And so let me take the little banner thingy off. So again, this is a lined notebook, but it was Art Nouveau-ish, and I was like, oh, it's so pretty. I can't. And it was on sale, so I wound up getting it. It is a little smaller, like thin wise, than I anticipated, but it's pretty. And I was like, I must have. So the inside, it has a little decorative part on the front as well as on the back. It's got a couple poems and things in there, like on the front and the back. But it's just like, it's pretty. And even the banner that goes on it is really pretty. So I may save like this portion and use it as like scrapbooky stuff. But yeah, so I'm excited about it. So that'll be my next, I think, like longhand journal for journaling. But yeah, so I was excited about that one. Art Nouveau style and lovely gilding. Yes. Love it, love it. Also, hello, Megan. CB says hello, but you're not going to be participating with our group tonight. You are at your in real life, your IRL writing group at the library. You're going to be working on Start for President tonight. But you did answer the poll. So let me pull up the poll. Where is it? Today's the 17th. Okay, so yeah, I couldn't fit all of the phobias Could not fit all of the phobias on the poll. But the poll is essentially which gives your main character the ick or the eek. Are they scared of, or just sort of like it weirds them out? Whichever way you want to look at it. Spiders, bugs, and reptiles. Ghosts or supernatural things. Needles or blood, or sort of like medical, could be gaping wound, could be sutures, whatever. Or babies, children, and relationships. Because I know we have some characters that are a little terrified of relationships. But yeah, so those are the options for the poll, or if you have something in particular that your character has an eek or an ick of, pop it in the chat for us and we can discuss it. So in terms of CB, Tony is petrified of spiders. Peggy, Tony's mother, is terrified of snakes, and Pepper is terrified of mice. Yeah, rodents was not on here as an option, but I would probably classify them in the same category as spiders and bugs and reptiles. Or typical small-ish things that get a bad rap. Monique is here and says, hey y'all, hello, welcome. Stacey says, okay, none of these would bother your main character, so you would put what would bother you, which is needles. Gotcha. Because at some point, our phobias do come out. Megan is here. Welcome. How's your semester been going? You're almost finished with today's homework, but you need to finish it all before you get your vaccine this afternoon. Yeah, because the flu vaccines are out. And because I took my parents to the doctor on Monday, and the doctor said that most of the insurance companies were sort of waiting for the immunization recommendation council that was meeting this Friday to see if it would be like recommended and therefore covered or not. But that they had the new vaccine on order and it would be arriving in the next couple weeks. So take that for what you will. But yeah, vaccines can wear you out for sure. Monique says, given that Jane has to deal with blood-sucking vampires, I feel like she would be bothered more with spiders than with the other things. Gotcha. This was so pretty in regards to the Tifosi notebook. Yes, I know. I'm really enjoying a lot of Tifosi's covers and Archer and Olives, which is why I have so many notebooks to choose from for this upcoming quarter and next year. So there's definitely going to be more notebooks in use for me because I need to use them. Kara says, I'm going to be watching an auto-crit horror webinar during the first hour. Nice. Should be fun. Monique is currently cooking lunch while chilling in the new sunroom. Nice. What is for lunch? Out of curiosity, can we come to your house for lunch? It'd be a long drive from Georgia to Texas, though. Lindsay is here. You're going to be working on a paper for your YA Lit class. Nice. For your Library Science Master's program. That all sounds deliciously fun because I took a YA literature class for my teaching degree, for my master's degree. And that was some fun books. I'm curious to know what's on your curriculum list. Because some of what was on the list was like what's been recently popular for my class. Of course, this was several years ago at this point. And then some of it was classic because I know we had to read. We read Speak. And I'm trying to remember some of the others. I think we read Holes, because that one was pretty well accepted. So we read Speak, Holes, we read Hunger Games, the first one. We read The Maze Runner, again, the first one. And then we read one called Verity, which was really interesting. It was not the Colleen Hoover one. It was about one girl who was a mechanic and one girl who essentially became a spy in England, and sort of like the war tensions and the things that happened with them. I think it was during World War II. Codename Verity, not just Verity, Codename Verity, that's what it is. By Elizabeth Wein, W-E-I-N, Wein. So we read that one. I'm trying to remember what other ones. But I'm always curious as to see like whether or not the YA literature class is sort of, some of the titles stay the same and some of them are updated. So if you don't mind providing a list, I'm curious. Megan says, I spelled it guild like group instead of guild like gilding the lily. Yes, but I knew what you meant. So you are currently snacking on a cracker sandwich with almond butter. Nice. Crackers and some sort of nut butter are always a tasty option. Or if you are allergic to nuts, maybe some sort of hummus or something like that. Some sort of protein-heavy paste, I should say. Monique says, I finished my final edits yesterday. Yay! And uploaded the final polished drafts onto KDP for the paperback and ebook. Nice. Excellent. So you're going to be in promo mode while also brainstorming stuff for book 2, which is going to be Drama of the Undead. Nice. Megan says, school has been a challenge. You just don't have much energy to do everything that you need to do. You're disappointed by your grades, which are still thankfully all A's, but low A's. Hey, girl, if you can get all A's and have low energy, but still get all A's, that's great. But yeah, managing your energy and making sure that you have all A's, I'm sure has been pretty time consuming and effort consuming. You probably don't have that many spoons left over at the end of every day and every week. So I get it. But I'm glad you're here. Megan says, my dad has his master's in library science. He works at a law firm now, unless he's retired. I don't know. We don't talk. I considered a library science degree for my undergrad. And I sort of kind of briefly considered it for master's. But I wasn't sure that I was ready to just go be the media specialist in a school library, which might have been less pressure than teaching, honestly. So, but yeah. But it's like everywhere I looked, all of the libraries were cutting jobs because they were the state cut their funding. And so librarians that I had seen at the local library for my whole life growing up suddenly lost their jobs because the state couldn't pay for them all, and it was real heartbreaking and frustrating. And that was right at the time where I was making my decisions for future job outlooks and future careers. So I was trying to mitigate that, to navigate that decision with the knowledge that it was not as stable of a job as I thought it was going to be. Of course, teaching is not really. Teaching is sort of stable, but your mental state is therefore unstable. The amount of stuff that you've got to do. So yeah. But the library science degree offers many different opportunities. That's your main point. Yes. Yeah. And when I was, 16, 17, I couldn't really see that. So, Lindsay says, we mostly have 5 highly challenged books. Oh, okay. So books that were banned or put on banned list and that kind of thing. Genderqueer books, Perks of Being a Wallflower. But you also have to make blogs where you analyze 20 additional books. Ooh. So they're letting you choose some of the curriculum. Interesting. Yeah, we didn't get to do that. There was very much a curated response, curated list. But that was, again, we were specifically for teaching. So I would think library science would have a broader range. So yeah, that makes sense. Monique says, I'm cooking ground pork for lunch and making it curry style. Sounds tasty. Last night you looked into how you can hint at Gabby being bisexual, even though she won't come out until book 3. Gotcha. It's Bisexuality Visibility Month. Always a good time to sort of read your text with that lens. Yes. You're working an average 10 hours a day, 10-hour days to get it all done. Oof. It doesn't help that ADHD makes focusing a challenge. Gotcha. So essentially you have the 8-hour school day plus 2 hours of homework to get things done. So yeah, it's your full-time job, essentially, which is a lot. Lindsay says, I did my undergrad in astrophysics. Wow, I really liked the STEAM education, but didn't want to be a teacher. You do STEAM programs with kids and teens, as well as normal library stuff. That sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. I did my undergrad in world literature, and then I did my master's in teaching, specifically with focus on English. So I feel like mine was a little bit more boring. But it seems like doing the STEAM and STEM programs with the kids and teens would be fantastic. I was able, when I was still in high school, I worked at the local library and mostly on the kids side, and I would help with the summer reading programs. And eventually the children's side coordinator asked me to help with like the puppet shows and stuff. And so that was always part of my favorite thing, because she would be out front reading and I would be behind the puppet booth manipulating the puppets. There was like a 4th of July thing, and I had the penguin as my puppet. And so it was about the flag and the Pledge of Allegiance and all that kind of stuff. And so when she was reading the part about reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, I put the penguin's flipper over its chest, because I was like, well, how do I do that? And she told me afterwards that it was really funny because when the kids saw the penguin do it, they did it. I was like, great. Perfect. So that was always kind of fun, with helping out with the little programs. So yeah. All of your classes are online, so it's all homework all day long. Some homework is reading the necessary content and taking notes. Yeah. But that, I mean, it's essentially your full-time job with a 10-hour day to get it done. Yeah, that's a lot. Lindsay says to Megan, I'm with you on the ADHD making focusing a challenge. Yeah. The Planner Pals podcast with Jashi Corinne and Mark Your Pages just released their newest podcast yesterday, and I managed to watch part of it this morning. Didn't watch all of it, but like part of it. Again, focus also an issue. But Mark was talking about ADHD and sort of growing up and struggling with it, and sort of one of the things that a professor told him for reading, and that he has taken that as a sort of like methodology for how to approach texts from then on. Read through it just once. Just read all the way through. Don't stop to make highlights. Don't stop to make notes. Just read it all. Try and get that comprehension going. Then read it again with the highlight in mind, because according to the professor, when you switch between reading for comprehension and highlighting to like remember, it like switches your brain's focus. And so one time just read it, second time for highlights, and then you take notes on your highlights, which is essentially like a third round of comprehension to instill the information in your brain. But that's a lot for if you're already struggling with focus to have to do it 3 times. But on the other hand, how many times would you have to read it if you were just trying to do it like with doing it all at once and having to reread for comprehension still. So so I haven't made it all the way to the end of the podcast, but I thought that point was really interesting. Lindsay says, that sounds so fun. I haven't done much in the way of story times yet, but puppets are classic. Yeah, the puppets were great. I loved decorating the stuff. So yeah, I really liked working in the library. So maybe I should be like, hit up our local library system. Be like, hey, you need any volunteers? Got any part-time jobs? I don't know if they'd want me at this point, but yeah. Have we tried Hank Green's Focus Friend app? I have not. Have you heard good things about it? I mean, I know that they're promoting it at the moment because it's recently out. But I have yet to hear anybody who's actually tried it out yet. So I don't know. You haven't heard of that one? Yeah. So it's like, okay. So Monique thinks it's really nice. Nice. Okay. Good. We have one review from one person we trust. You use it to sync with the sprints. Nice. That'll be very nice. Excellent. Okay. So I can minimize our thumbnail for today. I'm going to go ahead and open my document for the day. The one that I am going to try my best to work entirely in. I don't want to be switching projects today, but we'll see how that goes. Because I would like to get this orange sticky plus maybe some of this one done. I'm not sure if we'll make it, but we can try. We can try, and I can always work after the stream too. So my goal for today, I think, is minimum 1,000, 2,000 better, 2,500 even better. But somewhere between 1 and 2K in this story is the goal. Because I've been struggling a little bit more with my word counts lately. Some sprints I'm like, yeah, 800. But some sprints I'm like 50 to 200, somewhere in that range. But so I'm gonna conservative 1,000, not so conservative 2,000 or more. So let's do the dogs real quick, and then we will get to work. Okay. We have Dean. Yes, he is wearing fishnets in the middle of the afternoon. He's a trendsetter and doesn't expect everyone to understand. So here's Dean and his mesh table fishnets. Very cute, very fashion forward. Then we have Dexter for today. Something may have happened in your closet. It may involve your new shoes and them not being in the same condition they were in when you purchased them. But before you go look, he wants to remind you that he loves you. So I guess the question is, do we forgive Dexter? And his face. Look at his face. His ears are all back. Aww. So those are our cards. I think either our neighbors or our lawn maintenance is also here. Okay, we will hurry up and go to the sprint. We have the skunk. Know your worth. I love this card. It's number 54. Okay. So what do you value? What do you believe in? Is your best, most authentic self on display? The skunk comes as a reminder that you can be proud of who you are and what you have accomplished. Know your worth. Not everyone will agree with you or share your values, but you can walk with your head high, knowing that when you express your integrity, others can feel your authenticity and will be inspired by it. Be who you are, and if your reputation precedes you, good. You have much to be proud of, and the skunk wants you to be your best self, the true you. So there you go. I love the skunk. It's so cute. Okay, so that is our doggos and the card for the day. Lindsay says, when is the stream ending? You just downloaded Focus Friend and you think you're just going to block your phone for the rest of the stream. We usually stream until about 3:15, 3:20-ish. So yeah, that's generally when we end. So yeah, good luck with Focus Friend. You're definitely ready to work. You've been getting good words down today and it feels good. Excellent. Your card was the Four of Pentacles reversed. Ooh, okay. Okay, and you pulled the Nine of Wands. Nice. All right, let's do this so that I can mute the leaf blower or whatever tool they're using. I'm not sure I can pick out from the sounds one from another. Okay, let's do this. So 1, save your document. 2, make sure you have something to hydrate with and go ahead and take a sip. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine. Roll your shoulders back for that posture check. Make sure you're not slouching too much. And 4 is make sure if you need a break, take a break. Here we go. 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, sorry. I got 694 words, and then I was looking for a reference sheet that I seem to have misplaced the printout, so I went and looked up the document that I still have on my computer, so I was able to sort of kind of, I think, answer the question that I was asking myself. So I'm going to save my document, my new 694 words. Let's see. Sir Thinks Too Much says that blood gives your main character the eek, which is ironic because his BFF and eventual partner is a vampire. I asked if that means that their main character is going to get over it, or is that going to sort of like give higher stakes or provide comedic relief later down the line. Sir Thinks Too Much says it's not a major thing, but he will get over it / lean into it. Exchanging blood will be a means of affirming trust with her since she doesn't drink his blood for a really long time. Gotcha. And Eva says, hi, hello, waves. Monique is currently reading Take Off Your Pants by Libby Hawker. It's a guide to outlining instead of pantsing. Yes. And so at the moment you are contemplating character arcs. Gotcha. Chantel says, hey, popping in to boop the like button and say hello. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Monique says, right now you think Susie's main flaw is that it's hard for her to take initiative. She's used to being a follower and an observer. Okay. So in that case, what are, you have to think about, like, what are the stakes that are there for her, that sort of force her to take that initiative, to take action, because inaction is a choice as well. And so what is it that forces her hand, if she is used to letting things just play out? What is it that forces her hand? What is it that makes her step up and do? And so how is that related to her want or her need? So yeah. Gabby's flaw is that she's making the same mistakes Jane did, namely being a pathological people pleaser. Okay, so searching for approval, right? And so somehow she's got to get the approval from inside, and find her own worth, or find someone that gives her that external validation, based on her own recognition, and sort of like putting the many aside for the singular. Hopefully, she finds the approval within rather than just purely external. But it's always nice to find some cheerleaders along the way. Lindsay says, with much help from Sci-Hub, I found a good amount of additional sources for my paper. It's about the teenage brain, the teen's connection to tech, and how librarians can use that to connect with teens. Nice. I know that a lot of the kids used their phones or their iPads or their whatever computer technology they had to look up graphic novels and web novels if they were, if they tended to read that kind of thing. I'm trying to think of what else. We had a meet and greet with, a virtual meet and greet with the, oh gosh, what's the name of the book? I just completely blanked on it. It's gonna come back to me at some point. It's not 13 Reasons Why. Oh gosh. Character's name was Star, I think. Dealing with losing loved ones to gang violence. The Hate You Give. Is her name Star? Yes, Star. Okay. Sorry, that took a minute for my brain to be like, meh. So yeah, so virtual meet and greets. But we like, I'm trying to remember. I know that in middle school, up through middle school, we had the advanced readers stuff on the computer. So you, after you read a book, you go take a quiz, and it would be like, okay, you passed or and got points or not. And so then we could spend the points when the Scholastic Book Fair came. So things like that. I'm not really sure outside of that, other than sort of like social media to connect. We had a teens club at the local library, but it never really amounted to much. I think we had like maybe 2 in-person meetings. Yeah, and and we didn't really do much in terms of like the teen council or whatever. I know we were supposed to be like recommending books and stuff, but there weren't enough of us who were on the teen council to like make a real council. Yeah. Monique says, question, is working for a library similar to retail? I found the time that I worked part-time at the library on the kids side, I found it much more peaceful than when I worked for retail, like much more. Like, sure, you still have like customers, you still have the library patrons, you still have to reshelve and clean and stuff, but I found it much more peaceful than working retail. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure if that would hold true if you were like had a super busy library, like a very well-traveled library, because the amount of people that came into the Books Million where I used to work versus the amount of people who came in daily to the library. Well, they might have been comparable, but the library's size was like triple or quadruple the size of the store. So maybe it felt less busy. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I liked it. I had to wash my hands frequently, especially on the kids' side, because kids' books were pretty dirty. They were pretty dirty. uh, but yeah. Sir Thinks Too Much says to Monique, it depends on the position within the library. Regular old library clerks, you were one, does involve a lot of customer interface or interaction. Yeah, but I never really minded that because usually it was not contentious. Whereas sometimes with retail it can be very contentious sometimes. Anyway, Sir Thinks Too Much says, hey, steaks. She's vampire. True. I didn't even catch that. But yes. Lindsay says, in some ways, yes, it is like retail. It's a lot more one-on-one time with patrons and answering questions. The library you work in benefits from us not charging late fines, but people still get mad. Yeah. Monique says, I'm trying to figure out what kind of library job Susie would do that would suit her as an introvert. So one of the ladies used to be the book repair specialist. So she would occasionally be out, shelving and checking people out. But for the most part, she was repairing books. And that was mostly like in the back. So we would only see her occasionally. So I don't know if that would be something that you would care for. But book repair would be one thing. I think she was also the person who applied the new like barcodes and stuff. and like maybe applied for the new barcodes and stuff, because they have to apply. They're like $15 a piece for the library. Somehow is what she told me, and that was like, it's quite a few years ago at this point, so I don't know how much they would cost now. In Drama of the Undead, Susie gets pushed out of her comfort zone because she spends more time with people. Gotcha. Lindsay says cataloging would be good. That work can be behind the scenes. If your character has good attention to detail, they would definitely work. Yeah, or academic or research library could work. Also true. Yes. Lindsay says, I have not worked in academic or research library, but from what I understand, there's more digging up specific information that people need and then sending them the sources they need. Yeah, so either like scanning or photocopying, doing the preliminary research for them instead of them doing it themselves. Yes, she works at a local library. You can see her feeling like she's being stretched thin when she gets this extra work in book 2. Gotcha. At the library you work at, when we were short-staffed for months, the catalogers had to work on desk a lot more. You second the book repair and general tech services, labeling the books, plastic covers, etc. Yeah. Sir Thinks Too Much says, if one of Susie's coworkers gets sick, goes on vacation, leaves, maternity leave, paternity leave, that could increase her workload by having to schedule programs, work with kids, or be at the front desk more than usual. Yeah. She gets stretched thin when she becomes the on-set nurse for the adaptation of Phantom of the Opera. Okay. Stacy's like, I want to get a job at my local library as a shelver. So when I initially was volunteering to get my Key Club hours, and then so once I was showing up, a couple of times a week, because I was going to the library anyway to get books, so it was fine. And so one day the head librarian, Miss K, came over and she's like, hey, do you want to do what you're doing now but get paid for it? I was like, sure. So by that time I had my Key Club hours and they needed somebody to help the kids side put in, just do the shelving and then the programming and stuff. So yeah, I volunteered first, and then the head librarian was like, hey, we've got this grant money that we can use. And I was like, sure. So yeah. Monique, Sir Thinks Too Much says, ooh, that sounds exciting. And I can't click on this. Hello, welcome. And Eva says, our library board is awful, but our librarians are awesome. Yes. Shelving books is so soothing. Yes. Agreed. The elevator finally got repairs after fundraising efforts. Yay! So now those who can't walk the stairs can go to all over the library again. That's great. The board reduced the funding for such things. That seems illegal because of ADA accommodations. That seems like they would have to be putting aside money for that the whole time. Seems odd. Monique says, yeah. You think Susie would work at the research department of her local library, which is less in high demand than circulation. Gotcha. The one that you work at had the elevator out for a year. Why? It's 4 stories tall. They need an elevator. They fixed it right after you started. That just seems really frustrating. Because then you can't like go up and peruse and like find new covers that catch your eye. And it's like, just seems like a waste. Plus it seems like, again, illegal, because should be accommodating to all of your people. The reason she gets hired to be a nurse is because while she's not an RN, she is certified with first aid training. Gotcha. And she gets healing powers. Ooh, there you go. Nurse on demand. The library did offer other options for you to get books. Yeah, it's just not the same though. Yours are your library is 3 stories. Yeah, so they needed the elevator. Kids were on level 2. Events were in the basement. Main level for the rest. The only floor accessible without stairs was the basement for events. Okay. Yeah, libraries are getting budgets cut left and right. It's awful. Yeah. Yeah. For ADA, as long as someone can technically get books from a different floor because someone can grab them, it's allowed. I hate that. I mean, I'm glad that y'all were still able to go up and get books for people, but that's frustrating. Your library might have gotten away with it because old building, but your elevator had never been out for more than a few days. If you don't have your library card, go get one. Use it. It helps. I do have a library card. And in fact, I just signed in last night to the online thing to see if they had a book available at which of the local ones. So I'm be headed there later. Okay, let's do another sprint because we've been chatting. All right. Don't forget that if you have something to promote that is writing adjacent, now is your time to do second sprint. Aoife says, I think I'll go to the library tonight. Yes, great. Okay, so also our library started stocking like fun-shaped cake pans. Of course, you're supposed to wash them before you bring them back, obviously. But that's a great service for like if you want to do like a special birthday cake, but you don't want to buy the weird shaped cake pan that you're never going to use again. It's a great way to do it. I can't remember if our current library has that though or not. I'll check when I'm there. Wow. Used to live in New York City, and the lack of ADA accommodations in stores is crazy, super cramped aisles. But since you can call and have someone grab things for you, I think they mostly get away with it. Yeah. And because parts of New York City are considered like historical. Yeah. You just signed up for 2 events within our library system. One's at a different branch because they closed our main one because they're tearing it down and building a new one. Oh, goodness. You love how many options our library has in addition to books. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. It's also part of the regional library system. Yes, which makes things easier to get a book from another library. Yeah, I think almost all the libraries in Georgia are on the Pines regional system. So currently closed and moving to a new temporary location that's a block away. Gotcha. Okay. All right, let's do this. 1, save your document. 2, take a sip. Cheers. 3, straighten your spine or roll your shoulders back for that posture check. Make sure you're not slouching. And 4 is if you need a break, take a break. Here we go. 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. How much did we get that time? Let's see. 589 that time. Some of that was notes though, so probably 450 or so. But all total, I have 1283 in the document for these scenes, so not bad. That's at least the minimum that I wanted, which is great. So if we can do one more sprint and I have like a good chunk of words there, I'll be really happy. Because it's close to 1300, so if I don't know if I'll be able to get 700, but I can get at least closer to that, right? And the guys are back for working on the house, so if you hear anything, it's probably them. But the neighbors' yard people are done, so that's good. Yeah, anyway. How'd we do? Let's see. Self-promo, I'm going to scroll back up. We were talking about all the different things that are in the library that are not books. So Lindsay was like, I love a good library of things. You can check out such random things like a pizza oven. Just things in a library that make sense somehow. Lindsay says, I've always wanted to work in a maker space at a library. Your best friend worked in our college one. It was great. Is this where sort of like you can learn to can your stuff, or what? It's kind of like a county extension, but at the library, which is kind of cool. So at least I think that's what the maker space is. Amanda says, for self-promo, it's not necessarily writing related, but it would help out so much. Your daughter is up for Baby of the Year and needs votes. There's a link in the Troublemakers Discord. Eva actually shared this link just a little bit further down, and I went ahead and voted. So yay. Eva says, ours has telescopes, gaming systems, homeschool programs, DVDs, and musical instruments, microscopes, puzzles, and more. So many things that you can check out from the library. It's kind of crazy. You can also rent passes to other places, so you can get into places for free. So places in St. Louis that cost money, or places nearby to do. So water parks, museums, etc. Yeah, I have heard about museums. I don't know if the library does like national park passes or discounts on it, maybe. I'm not real sure. Anyway, here is the link to vote for Amanda's baby. So there you go. Stacey says, I forgot to do this on Monday, but here's the playlist for my current work in progress. So here's the Spotify playlist. Kara says, I'm running a 90% off sale of my literary services all month. So here is the link. Buy now, use anytime. Funky says, sorry I'm late, but coffee had to be started. Obviously. Made a big pot this morning myself. We thought the guys who are doing the work might want coffee, but they came with their own coffee. They arrived with McDonald's cups in hand. So yeah. Kara says, I have a new book review up at the Reader's Roost, so here's the link for that. But you're going to be journaling during the rest of today's session. You're planning to attend an editing chat through ACES, American Certified Editors Society. What is the ACES? What does ACES stand for? Editing Society. I would think the ES is Editing Society, starting at 2 p.m. your time, which sounds fun. Monique sent a couple emails to libraries and book fairs happening in your area to see if you could do an author signing thing. You got your help docs deployed. Excellent. You thought you were hearing voices. Yeah. So the guys are out. They've also got the radio playing. So hopefully the radio doesn't pick up. But if it does, I'll just mute this part of the stream and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Stacey says, I took a break, but then got some more work done. You think you have a little bit more in you today. Your back and shoulders are starting to hurt. Gotcha. How is your physical therapy for your shoulder doing? Have you seen any progress in that yet? Sir thinks too much, got a cup of tea and a snack. You're going to continue to work on the outline for a novel for Dabble's 60-day novel writing challenge alongside your current work in progress. Nice. Lindsay says, I found an interesting lit review from 2020 that said research up to that point showed no clear correlation between online experiences and teen mental health issues. Okay, so what kind of online experiences? Are we talking about online literature experiences, or are we talking about all of them? Because if that's true, there's a whole bunch of other studies that say there is a pretty direct correlation with teen mental health issues and online experiences. The makerspace was, you had things like embroidery machines, laser cutters, 3D printers, sewing machines, jewelry supplies, hardware. Wow, that's cool. Do we have one? That would be really fun, but I don't know if we have one anywhere near. But I will have to look it up and see. You don't start therapy until Monday morning. Okay, gotcha. Amanda says, thanks for the vote. She's in second place for her group. The winner gets $25,000 and a page in a Variety magazine. That $25 will help with a lot of things, for daycare costs, for diaper costs, for any medical costs. So $25,000 would be such a blessing. So hopefully we can all vote and make sure she gets first place. Cross your fingers, knock on wood, knock on the other wood. That'd be great. All right, now let's do one more sprint. At least one more. Let's do one more. We'll see what we're doing, how I'm doing word-wise at the end of this sprint. So this will take us to about 3:30. I might have to go then. We'll see. We'll just kind of play it by ear and see where we are. All right, so 30 minutes, red panda, his cute little face. 1, save your document. 2, make sure you take a sip. Cheers. Hydrate or dihydrate. 3 is straighten your spine or roll your shoulders back for that posture check. Make sure you're not slouching too much. And 4 is make sure if you need a break, take a break. Here we go. 30 minutes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Alrighty. I'm going to save that. I did, in fact, make it to 2,000 words, which is great. That's my... I'd like to make it to here mark. So I actually made it, which is great. Just barely, but I made it. So that was great. So I'll have a chance to do editing tonight for one of my different stories. But I've gotten my 2K for this story, which is great. Again, don't forget to use the link that Eva provided and vote for Amanda's baby for Baby of the Year. Let's see. Where are we? Heather says hello. Hello. Welcome. Lindsay's still doing some research onto that usage of online media and teen mental health. Lindsay says it seems the researchers, largely find inconclusive results for teen social media usage if they consider a lot of studies, and they all hate everyone else's methodology, which contributes to why no one agrees. Well, yeah, because they're all trying to write their own papers. And because it's really hard to write specific methodology for an algorithm that is constantly changing, and the kids' interaction with the algorithm changes what the algorithm feeds them. That's a little hard to figure out. Yeah. There's a lot of arguments about types of usage, how screen time should be considered, usage by marginalized groups, and the objective versus self-report research. It's really interesting. Yeah, I would find that the analysis of the overarching research to be interesting if somebody was willing to do research on that. But yeah, it's all kind of up in the air, isn't it? Finished up the work, deployed. Excellent. All right. Funky also says, hey to Heather. And let me pull up the... Did I close the thumbnail? No, I didn't. Okay, great. Okay, so once again, if you have not already voted for the poll, please do so. I will be ending that shortly. Heather is excited to see Funky. Yay! The guys did knock on, the guys who were cleaning and prepping the house knocked on our door during that last sprint and said goodbye for the day, and that they will be back at 8 a.m. sharp tomorrow morning to begin painting the house. So it means I got to get up earlier than I thought to move the cars so they have room in the driveway. Because the general contractor usually shows up at like somewhere between 8:30 and 9. And they showed up today at 8 a.m. sharp. I like threw on an overshirt and went to grab my keys to move the cars at 8 a.m. this morning. And they were already walking up to the door, had already parked everything. I was like, okay, I'll start the coffee. So they'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. So I will get up earlier so that I can move the car and they can have room. Funky says the poll would be specifically cockroaches for your main character. Understandable, because they are ick. Amanda says, almost finished your work for the day. Yay! And then you get to go get a cute fall haircut / color. Nice. That sounds like a lovely treat yourself self-care moment. Sounds great. Okay, let's go ahead and end the poll. And by far we have a winner. So 65% of our main characters get the ick or the eek due to spiders, bugs, or reptiles. And then we have sort of a tie between the other three. It was showing 12% each on my end, but now it's showing 11% for Ghost and Supernatural and 12% each for Needle's Blood or Babies, Children, Relationships. So that is that. Fridays is kind of similar, but the opposite. In sort of like which would your main character want as a reward? So like a bookstore and cafe date, sweet treats, a nap, or an outdoor adventure. So that's Friday's problem though. So, all right, y'all, don't forget to save your document. I'm going to save mine again, even though I already saved it. And I will see y'all soon. And we will have a new house, newly painted house. It's going to be light blue and dark blue. It's going to be very similar to our old house. It's sort of like a blue gray, like dark blue gray as the dark accent color. And then a very pale blue for the main house. And then white trim. So, yay. New colors. The house was originally yellow, and then the rehabbers painted it green, and so now we're painting it blue. So anyway, thanks for the sprints. I will see y'all on Friday, or I will see you in the chats. All right, bye.